The gentleman from Florida is recognized for as much time.
Thank
as
you
he's
very much,
looking to.
Mr. Speaker, and I thank the gentleman, my good friend from Texas, that yielded the time. I rise today, obviously, in strong opposition to this measure. And I would say to my friend, I just heard him just a moment ago, Mr. Speaker, say that the people from Texas sent him here to do things. Well, people from Florida sent me here to do things just like him. And there are 435 members in this institution, in addition to delegates from around our territories. And each one of them has an equivocal and clear understanding about how to, unequivocal and clear understanding about how to go about budgeting in this particular matter. Forming a working group is forming another group up above that group. And I don't need that, and I don't believe he needs that. I don't need it, and evidently we haven't done very well when we've had it. From the newspapers today, I gathered that we had a Simpson-Bowles Commission, which people forget was the legacy of 2010 debt ceiling increase. We had the Domenici-Rivlin Commission. We had the Cantor-Biden talks. We had the Obama-Boehner debt ceiling negotiations, the Gang of Six talks, the Super Committee, and then the Obama-Boehner fiscal cliff talks, and not one of them worked, and this mess isn't going to work either. It's sort of like, you know, Mr. Speaker, moving the hostages, since they're taking them one by one here with this rifle shot approach to legislating, when in fact all they have to do is put a clean CR on the bill, or on the floor, and we could pass it, and they know that. But basically what they're doing is saying, okay, we're going to take some hostages over here, then we're going to put them in another room with some more people so that they can talk to them. I said in the Rules Committee, and I repeat, this is a gimmick wrapped in a con inside a scam. And nothing tells me anything different about my friends across the aisle who've offered gimmick after gimmick instead of doing what they know is right. We can open the government, and that's easy to do. We can put Americans back to work, and that's easy to do. We can keep our country from defaulting on its obligations, and this measure will do none of those things, not one of them. And all that talk about the president made it very clear today that he's willing to negotiate. Evidently, and I've picked up on this, you all must have, my friends on the other side, must have poll-tested conversation. Well, conversation allows, among other things, that you have an exploratory understanding with people in an informal setting. And what have we been talking about around here for 2 years? We've been talking about this mess. This didn't just come up last night or day before yesterday. Democrats have already offered 7 times to take up the Senate-passed continuing resolution. The House GOP has blocked the vote on the measure each and every time. For 6 months we've been asking these people to conference. To the House Republican leadership, I say, Mr. Speaker, let us vote on a clean CR. Let us raise the debt ceiling. Why prolong this shutdown when you know that the votes are here in the House of Representatives? My friends across the aisle know they've made a mistake. The goalposts have not only moved, they've vanished completely from the field. First, they want to defund Obamacare. Then, they only want to delay Obamacare. Then, when that didn't work, they said, well, we don't want to shut the government down, so let's open it up piece by piece. And evidently that isn't working either, and so they're now down here moaning and groaning about the fact that the Senate isn't going to take up something that's foolish because they've made it clear that they want this to be a measure that's not a part of any negotiations or conversation, and the president made it clear that he'll converse with anybody about anything, but not with a gun at his head and not with the kind of undertaking that you're going forward here. So now it's a working group, another super committee. How did that work out for you the last time? Ask my friends, if you would, Mr. Speaker. So tell me, where does it all end? In all seriousness, what do my friends across the aisle hope to achieve? Speaker Boehner has said, and I quote him, my goal here is to have a serious conversation. He said it 27 times, conversation on Sunday. I was looking at him when he said it. About those things that are driving the deficit and driving the debt up. And the president's refusal to sit down and have a conversation about this is putting our nation at risk of default. Well, 11:38 today, the President's office issued a statement wherein they had a conversation today with John Boehner, in essence telling him virtually that we can do this with a clean CR. What have we been talking about? Why are we even here? What are we talking about now? Are we having a conversation, or are we just talking past each other here in the House of Representatives? Republicans have shut down the federal government and taken us to the brink of a global economic catastrophe, because evidently they want to have a conversation that we're already in the middle of. Guess what? The Senate CR is at the levels you wanted, $986 billion. That's what they voted on. Sequestration is the law, as my friend from Georgia is fond of saying, the law of the land. You've already gotten what you wanted, and let's just vote on a clean CR. Let us raise the debt ceiling. This shutdown and looming debt ceiling breach are failures of the majority's leadership to stand up against the extremists within their own party, elected on a platform of obstructionism that borders on insurrection, and leaders, you say, on the other side must be strong. Leaders must be courageous. This has become not a democracy that was intended by Jefferson and Madison and Adams and all of those that were our founders, the Franklins and the Washingtons. They founded a democracy in spite of their divisions. They did not want to have mobocracy. And that's what you've allowed to stand up in your part of this institution, a mob. Mr. Chairman, let us end these games with a strong bipartisan message. We can show the rest of the world that the United States is ready to end its political brinksmanship. You know, when I was a child, and I would speak out of turn, my dad and my grandmother would say, "Sit down and shut up." We don't need a shutdown. We don't need people being shut out. What we need to do is shut up and let the American people cause us to listen to them and go about the business of bringing a clean CR down here. That's what I'm hearing from the American people, both Republican and Democrat, liberal and conservative, that they want us to sit down and shut up and open up this government with a clean CR.